It's the oldest historic site in Hartford, the ancient burying ground.
Once upon a time, this graveyard was over 6 acres.
Hartford's primary graveyard from 1640 to the early 1800s.
There are probably about 6,000 burials here.
And among them,
a lot of people may not know this, but the ancient burying ground in Hartford is home to between 400 and 500 graves of African-descended people.
There are no headstones to commemorate them, but historian Kathy Hermes says these earliest black residents shaped the city into what it is today.
I think it just would not be the same city because much of the hard labor was done by people of African descent. But they also contributed things culturally.
Slavery existed in Connecticut for 200 years, and the state played a role in the Middle Passage.
Norman Morrison owned 7/16 of a schooner, brought people from West Africa right to Hartford.
Those slaves would have worked on Morrison's farms across the state and at his home off Market Street, where you can still see Morrison's tomb.
There should be a plaque here to the enslaved people, I think.
Most of Hartford's wealthy white residents relied on slave labor, including Reverend Timothy Woodbridge of Center Church.
The Woodbridge family had over 30 enslaved people living in their household.
Commemorated here are 2 slaves named Andrew and Tamar. They had 3 children, but those kids were quickly given away as wedding presents or in wills.
These siblings were separated at very young ages.
Hermes says in the ancient burying ground, there are at least 2 black veterans.
People of color who were veterans of the Revolutionary War.
And musicians.
A lot of African-descended men had fiddles. You can imagine them playing their music, right, on a summer night for the crowds.
Just down the road once stood the historic Talcott Street Church.
First African-American congregation in Hartford that was self-sustaining.
Led by the Reverend James Pennington.
A lot of Hartford's black leaders attended church here and really made a difference in Hartford politics.
And today,
the congregation still exists in the north end of Hartford.
In the ancient burying ground, a monument now stands dedicated to Connecticut's black leaders.
Neptune, who was a black sheriff and a prominent barber.
And 5 black governors.
These were men who were elected to represent their communities by the enslaved people in Hartford. They were often mediators between the official white government and the kind of unofficial black leaders of the community.
Through research, documents, and artwork,
Charles Ethan Porter, magnificent painter,
the lives of hundreds of Hartford residents of African descent start to come into color. In Hartford, Jane Caffrey, NBC Connecticut News.